Why do we let thoughts we never invited rule our entire lives? You wake up tired not because your body is weak, but because your mind has been battling itself all night. 1,000 imagined conversations, regrets that cannot be undone, fears that haven't even happened. This is not life. This is a prison of thought, and you are not alone. Every day, millions suffer not from war, hunger, or sickness, but from the endless noise within. The world may be calm, yet the mind creates storms. It paints enemies where there are none. It whispers shame where there is none. It builds a false world and convinces you to live inside it. Why do we trust these thoughts? Why do we bow to a voice that does not serve us? You lie in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking of everything that could go wrong. You imagine being rejected, failing, falling, losing. Scenes that never happened, conversations that never occurred, people who never thought what you assumed. And still, you believe it all. You carry it like it's truth. But ask yourself, has any of that noise ever given you peace? Now imagine this. The year is 175 AD. Rome is in chaos, the empire is shaking. Enemies surround its borders. Inside the palace, betrayal. Outside the palace, war. And at the center of it all, one man sits with a calm heart. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, philosopher, Stoic. How? He faced everything we fear: loss, pain, failure, the end of life itself. Yet he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He understood something we forget. We cannot control the world, but we can command how we meet it. This video is not about motivation. It is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about remembering what is real and what is not. The thoughts that torment you, they are not facts. They are habits. And habits can be broken. Stay with me, and we will open the pages of the greatest Stoic minds. We will uncover the forgotten truths that silence worry, clear the fog of anxiety, and help you reclaim the only thing that was ever yours: your peace. Are you ready? Then breathe. We begin now. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These were not just words for Marcus Aurelius. They were truth, a truth he carried while ruling an empire, facing death, betrayal, and war. And yet, he remained still inside. Not because his life was peaceful, but because he had learned where peace truly lives. Not in the world, but in the mind. Now ask yourself this: what do you do when your mind turns against you? When it speaks to you not as a friend, but as a trickster? The thoughts come like waves crashing hard. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I'm not enough? You feel it in your chest, your stomach, your breath. A silent panic, a constant storm. It begins with a thought and ends in fear. But this fear is not real. This voice in your head, the one that repeats your worries over and over, it lies, not to harm you, but because it believes it is helping you. Your mind is not your enemy, but it is also not always your guide. Modern science now confirms what the ancients already knew. The mind repeats the same thoughts every day. Nearly 80% of them, and most are negative. This is not weakness. It is design. The brain is made to protect, not to inspire. It scans for threats, holds on to pain, and prepares for danger, whether danger exists or not. So you live in a world of your mind's making. Not the present moment, but 100 imagined futures. You check your phone, heart racing over a message. There is no threat. But your body has already prepared for battle. Your shoulders tense, your stomach tightens, your breath shortens, and nothing happened. This is the power your thoughts can have if left untrained. They do not wait for permission. They rise like smoke, clouding your sight. You think you are broken, but you are not broken. You are simply believing everything. You hear from a mind that was built to fear. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He watched his own mind closely. He questioned every thought. He reminded himself that many things he feared would never happen. And even if they did, they were survivable, bearable, natural. He trained his thoughts like a soldier sharpens a blade, not with anger but with clarity. You must do the same. When a thought arises, ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this mine to control? If not, let it pass. You do not have to hold every idea that enters your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. You are not the noise. You are the stillness beneath it. The mind does not lie to harm you. It lies to protect you. But that protection becomes a prison if you do not wake up and take back the key. And the key is simple awareness. The moment you notice a thought is just a thought, not a prophecy, not a truth, not a command, it begins to lose its power. It fades like smoke, it softens like wind. You do not need to fight it, you need only to see it clearly. You can smile gently and say, I hear you, but I do not need you right now. That is freedom. That is strength, not silence, but understanding. Not control, but choice. If your mind has lied to you over and over about your worth, your future, your fears, then ask yourself now, who are you underneath those lies? Breathe. Listen. There is a still voice deeper than thought. One that says, I am not my fear. I am not my past. I am not what others think of me. You are the calm center, the observer, the steady flame. Begin there, and you will never be lost again. Marcus answered the question long ago. In his own hand he wrote, if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. He was not speaking in riddles. He was offering a key. Pain is real. The body breaks, the heart breaks, time steals what we love. But suffering? Suffering is something different. Suffering is the fire we build on top of pain. It is the story we add. Pain says, this hurts. Suffering says, this will never end. I deserve this. This is who I am now. A blow to the body may last a moment, but a judgment can last a lifetime. You fail at something once, and your mind whispers, you are a failure. You're rejected by someone you love. And the voice inside says, you are not worthy of love. That voice, is not truth. It is judgment, and judgment is a choice. This is what the Stoics saw so clearly, that life is not made unbearable by the things that happen, but by how we think about them. The event itself is neutral. It has no opinion. It simply occurs. You lose your job. The event happens. Now, one person sees this and says, "This is the end of me." Another says, "This is my chance to begin again." One suffers. One grows. Which one are you? Marcus faced war, betrayal, illness, the loss of children. He did not pretend these things did not hurt, but he refused to give them more power than they deserved. He refused to hand them his peace. When your judgments rule you, you are like a man who sets fire to his own house to stay warm. You think the story comforts you, but it only burns you down. Here is the truth. You do not suffer because life is cruel. You suffer because you believe what the voice in your head tells you, and you can question it. Ask, is this thought helping me? Is this judgment fair? Is this the whole story? Most times the answer is no. A Stoic learns to pause, to step back, to see the gap between what happens and what he believes about it. In that gap is freedom. To say, yes, I lost, but I am not a loser. To say, yes, they left, but I am not unlovable. To say, yes, this is hard, but I am still alive. And where there is life, there is strength. This is not denial. This is mastery. It is not weakness to feel. It is weakness to let feeling decide who you are. You are not the wind that changes. You are the mountain it passes over. When life strikes you, do not add another blow. Do not say, "This should not happen to me." It is happening. Let that be enough. Once you stop fighting the event, you can begin shaping your response. And in response, you find power. The same fire that melts wax, hardens clay. What matters is what you are made of. So I ask you now, what judgment have you been holding that is causing your suffering? What old label? What fear? What lie? Write it down. Speak it aloud. Then question it like Marcus would. Is this helping me? Is this making me wiser, kinder, stronger? If the answer is no, release it, let it go. It is not yours anymore. You are not your story. You are not your label. You are not your pain. You are the one who sees it, and the one who sees clearly suffers less. Because he knows this ancient truth. Events do not break us. Our thoughts about them do, and our thoughts can be changed. So the question now is this: if your suffering comes from your judgments, will you change the way you see, or will you stay inside a cage that was never locked? Each morning, Marcus Aurelius would begin the day by reminding himself of what was coming. Not blessings, not comforts, but trouble. He would write, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." He did not do this to complain or to feel sorry for himself. He did it to prepare his mind. He knew the nature of the world. He knew the nature of people. And more importantly, he knew the only thing he could truly control His response. This is the heart of Stoic wisdom. You cannot control what others do. You cannot control the outcome of events. You cannot stop death, chaos, insults, betrayal, or loss. But you can control how you meet those things. You can meet them with peace or with panic, with anger or with understanding, with wisdom or with weakness. The world may be a storm, but you do not have to be the storm. Modern science, centuries after Marcus lived, confirms something extraordinary. The brain's emotional reaction, whether it's fear, anger, or sadness, lasts just 90 seconds. That first rush, that flash of heat in your chest or stomach, is automatic. But after that minute and a half, what happens next is no longer biology. It's choice. If you are still angry 10 minutes later, it's not because of the event. It's because you are feeding the story. You are holding the flame. You are choosing to keep suffering. That may be hard to hear, but it is also freeing. Because if it is a choice, then it can be unchosen. If the fire continues because you pour oil on it, then you can stop pouring. Someone says something cruel to you. It stings. That is natural. But what happens after the sting? Do you carry their words for hours, for days, replaying them like a broken record? Or do you see them for what they are, words, and let them pass like wind? You are walking. A driver cuts you off, your blood rises. In that moment, do you shout, slam the horn, curse their name, or do you take a breath, remember that peace is more valuable than pride, and move on? Both paths are available. In every moment, you are offered both, reaction or response, fire or stillness, power or weakness. The Stoic does not seek to be unfeeling. He simply refuses to be ruled by feeling. He does not suppress emotion. He watches it. He does not deny the storm. He steps back from it and sees that it is passing. So many of us have become slaves to our reactions. A stranger on the street ruins our mood. A message on our phone ruins our day. One look, one word, one inconvenience, and we hand away our peace like it's worthless. But peace is not worthless. It is the most valuable thing you have. Marcus called it inner citadel, the fortress within. If you guard it, nothing can truly harm you. If you let it be taken, nothing else can truly help you. To lose your calm is not just to feel bad. It is to lose your center. It is to forget who you are. When you snap at your loved ones, not because of them, but because of a bad meeting. When you spiral into worry over something you cannot change. When you dwell in anger over an event long past. You have let someone or something else write your story. That is not power. That is slavery. The Stoic path is the return to freedom. It is not to live without emotion, but to rise above its rule, to choose stillness, to choose patience, to choose action, not reaction. But this is not easy. You will fail. You will be triggered. You will say things you regret. That too is part of the training. Because you do not become unshakable in theory, only in practice. A Stoic sees failure as a lesson, not a label. Each time you react badly is a chance to learn. Each time you pause just once is a victory. Slowly, those small victories add up. Slowly, the space between impulse and response grows wider. In that space, you discover something sacred, your power. Remember, you are not what happens to you. You are what you do next. That is where your identity lives. That is where your soul sharpens itself. So when pain comes, meet it with courage. When offense comes, meet it with silence. When disappointment arrives, meet it with presence. You will not control the waves of life, but you can learn to stand calmly in their midst. That is what Marcus did. That is what Epictetus taught. That is what you can begin today. You may ask, what does this look like in the real world? It looks like someone cutting you off in traffic, and instead of reacting, you smile and say nothing. It looks like someone criticizing you unfairly, and instead of defending your ego, you thank them and continue on. It looks like walking away from drama, staying true to your values, not to prove anything to others, but to stay loyal to yourself. This is how the Stoic responds, not with indifference, but with inner discipline, not with coldness, but with clarity. The world can scream, and still, you breathe. The world can provoke, and still, you remain. The world can rage, and still, you choose peace. You may stumble, you may fail, but the path is always open. Each morning, you can rise and remind yourself, today I may meet the unkind, the foolish, the proud, but I will meet them with strength. I will meet them with stillness. I will not give them my peace. Because that peace, your peace, is not a gift from the world. It is a gift you give yourself. And when you stop giving it away, you will find something remarkable. Nothing can disturb you unless you let it. Now ask yourself, will you still hand your power to the noise around you? Or will you finally take it back? There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when you stop fighting. Not because you've given up, but because you finally understood. You see the storm around you, and instead of bracing against it, you step aside. You do not surrender to weakness. You surrender to truth. Marcus Aurelius, a man surrounded by war, betrayal, illness, and constant pressure, discovered this moment again and again. He learned that real control does not come from holding tighter. It comes from letting go. Not letting go of care or duty, but of the need to control what cannot be controlled. Not letting go of discipline, but of illusion. He wrote, "The universe is change. Life is opinion. The world moves how it moves. People act how they act. Events rise and fall like the tides. But what stays steady, if you choose it, is the space inside your mind. That stillness is your strength. That calm is your control. You thought control meant predicting every outcome, preventing every failure, pleasing every person. But that is not control. That is anxiety dressed as effort. That is exhaustion disguised as responsibility. True control is much simpler. It is the space between reaction and response. It is the decision to breathe, to wait, to speak softly, when everything screams at you to shout. Letting go feels strange at first. Your mind tells you it is weakness, that to release the weight means you don't care. But the truth is the opposite. Only someone strong enough to care deeply can also choose not to carry what isn't theirs. Only someone anchored in truth can resist the pull of panic. Picture yourself in a storm. The wind howls. The rain pounds. Most people run, hide, scream, or fight the sky. But the Stoic stands firm, not because he controls the storm, but because he controls how he meets it, calmly, bravely, without fear. The storm does not touch his mind. That is what Marcus taught. That is what the great Stoics lived. And that is what you now remember. Your thoughts are not enemies. Your emotions are not chains. They are signals, not commands. You can notice them without obeying them. You no longer fear your thoughts. You no longer need to chase peace as if it's hidden in a better future or a perfect plan. It was never outside you. It was always waiting, like clear water beneath the surface. The moment you stop stirring the waves, it appears. You don't need to become someone else. You simply need to return to yourself, the part of you that watches without fear, acts without panic, and sees the truth clearly. So pause now. Ask yourself, what burden can you release? What fear are you still feeding? What story are you ready to stop telling? Your peace is not something to find. It is something to allow. It is already there beneath the noise. Let go. And in that letting go, take back your life. You are not your worry. You are not your fear. You are not the noise that rattles through your mind at midnight. You are the stillness beneath it, the calm behind the storm. You have thoughts. Yes, you have emotions, strong ones, but you are not bound to them. You are not their servant. You are the one who sees them rise and chooses whether or not to follow. Marcus Aurelius did not live in peace. He faced plague, betrayal, war, death. But he learned to stand within the fire and remain untouched in soul. Not because life was kind to him, but because his mind was. He learned to master himself, and through that mastery, he walked free. And so can you. You may have been told that you are broken, weak, or lost, but the truth is, you've just been listening too long to the wrong voice, the loud one, the fearful one, the one that tries to protect you by keeping you small. Now it's time to return to your center, time to breathe, time to notice the thought without grabbing it, to feel the fear without becoming it, to choose the response that leads to peace, not panic. This is the Stoic path, not the easy road, but the honest one. Not the loud answer, but the quiet strength. And if this message touched something in you, if something inside you whispered yes, then don't let that flame go out. Subscribe, return, reflect. This is only the beginning. Every day, we meet the storm. But every day we also have the choice to fight it or to walk through it with grace. So let me ask you now, honestly, gently, what is the one worry you are ready to let go of? You can write it in the comments, or you can release it now with your next breath. Let it vanish and meet the world with steady eyes. You were never trapped. You were only waiting to remember who you are.